Greetings, fellow citizens of Disneyland. Bricky here. It's our weekly update where I take a lap around downtown Disney, Disneyland, and Disney's California Adventure to discover all the new updates of the week. And let me tell you, it is going to be Christmas heavy and it is going to be crowd heavy. Some of our regular construction projects that we've been having so much fun tracking, those might need to be put on pause this week because it's really busy and there's so much new Christmas stuff to update you on. So friends, what do you say? Let's take a walk around the entire resort. It's your weekly Disneyland update of everything new that's happened in the last week at the Disneyland Resort.
Big Thunder Mountain returned this week as promised, but then has shut back down since. It did a soft opening, I believe, on Tuesday, but by Wednesday, it was already back down. I'm sure they wish they could have ironed out those kinks while they had the entire attraction broken down and not guests waiting to get on the attraction. But you could see it was working that day because the cast was hanging out. Last week when we were here, we could see they had this partition wall up, creating the workspace for the workers. That is now gone, but I just want to break down to you the shape of Disneyland on Thursday when I filmed this week's update. Rise of the Resistance, Indiana Jones, Autopia, Winnie the Pooh, and the monorail were all down. Not for the entire day, but a lot of these were down, overlapping with one another, which made the park really full, and those attractions that were open were overwhelmed. Over in DCA, they are doing a sneak peek of the Eternals film that's in theaters today at the Sunset Showcase, which I'm assuming means that PhilharMagic has gone away for a little while. It's nice to see this theater get used inside of Hollywoodland. It's nice to see a little bit of Hollywood inside of Hollywoodland. As you all may remember, this sign was something that was finished during the pandemic times. It was kind of exciting to see a new project. So excited to see they're back to doing movie premieres here. And the big news of the week as far as attraction goes, Web Slingers has gone away from the mobile queue that you could sign up for first thing in the morning or in the afternoon, and it is now just a basic standby ride. That happened in less than 6 months. I think that might be an indication of the overall popularity of this ride, or maybe also the fact that it's a people gobbler and that it could get a lot of guests through at a fast time. But definitely interesting to see that inside of 6 months, this goes to a standby. 45 minutes for a brand new attraction, not that bad. The Disneyland Backlot Premiere Shop set up a little pop-up kiosk on the outskirts of Avengers Campus, just trying to get that merchandise more in people's eyes, because I'm assuming they're having a hard time getting people into the Hollywood backlot because, quite frankly, it's a no man's land. So you can see here they have some of these merch items out in this little pop-up cart, because right now, with Oogie being over with, this is where Cruella's meet and greet is at today, without Mickey or Minnie or one of the characters wearing a Marvel t-shirt as some sort of interesting co-branding. The stage was completely empty, and so was a lot of this land. If you've been with me for a while, you know I've been very curious. Once Marvel got its own home and was removed from Hollywoodland, what would Disney do with this? And I don't think they know yet. Over in Cars Land, interesting news, Filmore's is being taken down. I'm not sure if they are re-sheeting this. I'm going to call it a geodome. That's probably wrong. I don't know if they're re-sheeting this with the outside panels, the exterior panels, but it was definitely interesting to come by and just see that it was gone. However, I've been criticizing the resort for using non-themed scrims. I do enjoy these tie-dye scrims that they have all around Filmore's, creating that vibe that, you know, lets you know where you're at in this character's personality. But definitely interesting to see them resheeting that, and during the holidays nonetheless. Would wonder if there was something that was wrong with it, or if this is an upgrade, or let's hope that for the holidays, they're going to just turn it into an igloo. You heard it here first. Breaking news, Cars Land Igloo. Can't wait to see it. And for those of you that forgot what it looked like, whenever you see the black borders, this is historic footage. This is the exterior. So it's not that hard to think that maybe they were removing those panels that they have the artist rendering of sort of a tie-dye version of a map of Radiator Springs on there, but will be interesting to see what comes here. Looking forward to that holiday igloo. Over in Grizzly Peak, the trail is back open. This had been closed down to Oogie Boogie Splash. They would just close it down during the operational hours so that you couldn't walk through here, because they had it all set up for the evening's festivities where you could meet the evil queen from Snow White. So definitely awesome to have this trail back. I love walking through here. Such an escape. This is that interesting week where they're taking down Halloween decorations, getting ready for the Christmas season that kicks off officially next Thursday. I will be there for the first Merriest Nights, taking all of you along with me. But during this week, I kind of focus on my content of celebrating the 6-month anniversary of the park. So did lots of different content looking back at how Disney's done over the last 6 months. But the fact that Mickey was there last week and there will be a Christmas tree there any day now, I love the effort of planting these flowers. They could have just put nothing there, but I love that they put those flowers there. And yes, Main Street is already covered and its Christmas decorations, well, mostly covered. But we'll get into that in just a minute, because as I was saying, we are celebrating the 6-month anniversary of Disney being reopened on the channel this week. And so I've looked back at how they did with overall performance and items that still aren't open in yesterday's video, Forgotten Disneyland. And I just want to say, it has been amazing for 6 months having this back inside my life. Yes, there are a lot of things that feel different and some things that aren't up to what we remembered, but this has been a really interesting time in all of our lives, a very fascinating time in Disneyland's history. And I just want to say, it has been awesome to get to go back, to take so many of you with me. And I'm really happy that we're doing this weekly series where I go around and find all this new stuff, because this is quite honestly the funnest part of my week, just going around the entire resort trying to figure out what's new. And it was exciting this week looking back at 6 months of Disneyland, and now I'm ready to get in to those holiday festivities. But real quick, I did do this video where I rated the overall aesthetic and experience of the resort, and a big thing that came up was power washing. Some people told me that they are still power washing, but these are some of those stains that I was talking about that are looking grosser and grosser by the week. And some of you mentioned, well, maybe they can't do the power washing because of the drought. Well, the entire time I've been a Disneylander, California has been in a drought, and I've seen them doing lots of power washing. I don't know what sort of voodoo they have to get water, but these are looking pretty rough out here. So I just wanted to show some of you the example and see what you think. I got a lot of great feedback on people explaining to me about construction shortages and everything. When we come over to Frontierland, we can see once again all of the holiday decor for Halloween has been removed out. Everything that was over here is gone, and now it's just a quiet spot for a mom and her son to hang out. But when we come over to the stage where there was the figures of the 3 guys doing the band performance there, you can see once again, like, there's just stains all over the ground at the park right now. And the more I've become aware of this, the more I can't stop looking at it. I do know that they're trying to bring back Custodio, so hopefully that will change. This is something new that I've seen them doing this week that I absolutely love. More of this, please. Mr. Pooh, any comment on who's been stealing the honey? Mr. Pooh, do you know who's been taking the honey? Any comments? Even though he won't say something, I will. This week we did a video called Forgotten Disneyland. One of the things that we looked back on is how the nighttime show here at the edge of Pixie Hollow isn't happening. But I wanted to add this in this week's update video because this body of water had been looking very green and hard to look through. They have now dyed it what I refer to as toilet bowl blue. And you can actually now zoom in and see the lights in there and the different tracks that the rope lighting runs around, whatever you call underwater rope lighting. Really hope this little nighttime surprise show comes back because it does add an amazing ambiance to Fantasyland and Pixie Hollow. Wait a minute. He wouldn't tell me who was taking the honey because he's trying to protect Allison. How dare he? I'm telling you. Never trust a man that doesn't wear pants to Disneyland. That's going to be one of my number one rules. I've been trying to crack the code on who's got this honey, and he's just not talking. And now I know this is way deeper than I thought, now that Allison is involved. You thought you could trust people. You just never know. You never know. They have been trying to get a lot more engagement in the park, I've noticed this week. And you can see Tinkerbell, even though you can't go into Pixie Hollow and meet her, she is doing this social distance meet and greet, which is really cool with the advantage point of all this landscaping. And then I saw this cavalcade.
Hello, everyone. Clap along and celebrate a brand new day with our Disney friends.
Take place on Main Street, which is much better than just the Anna and Elsa show that I've been catching lately. I really like that float that they brought back from Mickey's 90th that looks like a wooden pool toy. And speaking of, there's the man himself. Still can't go into Mickey's house for the meet and greet. I see you, kid. I see you looking back at me. What a handsome man. But you can see the characters out on their porch pretty much all day long. Normally there's one or two of them over there. So it is nice that they're creating some sort of relationship, but would like to see these two open up because, as somebody pointed out on the Forgotten Disneyland video, think about how many more people would be inside of these two buildings, loosening up the crowd flow of Toontown. So that's a look at everything that's new and a couple of projects that we're tracking. Now let's jump over to some construction. What treehouse? You must be talking to somebody else because I'm not seeing a treehouse here. No sirree, Bob. No treehouse in these parts. Don't even know what you're talking about. All I see is this floating middle bridge. Don't know how it got there, but it's there. Nothing to report from the Fantasyland Theater sign rehab that's going on. This area still is moving at a snail's pace. We see this wrapped up. No sign of any working. And then that walkway project that's been taking a pretty long time. It seems to just be doing what it's doing. Not a lot of anything. Who knows? Probably waiting for some supplies, as I was made aware that construction supplies are running short. But this one has drug on for quite some time. And then over in Toontown proper, not a lot to report on the exterior that we can see from the guest vantage, but I did hear a lot of work going on. So who knows what they're doing on the interior where the ride will actually exist. But as far as we can see, not a lot going on. And last week I walked you around and showed you all of the amazing Toontown holiday decorations that were put up everywhere. So if you want to see what Toontown's looking like for the holidays, you can check that out in last week's update. But as far as this week, it's kind of just the same. And also in last week, I did a comparison on how that front work exterior will be very similar to what we see for the exterior of Monsters, Inc. over in Disney's California Adventure. Do love that water hose garland though. That's fantastic. Moving over to probably the second biggest project, Mickey and Minnie being the number one, over at World of Color, we see it broken down. And we can see they've set up this little station over here with lots of different supplies that they have tarped off, which is right next to the front of house. And then if we move our eye over, we can see that they have this bridge, which is the way that they're obviously taking in and out equipment that they're using for refurbishing some of the fountains and the spotlights that exist out there. And we can see this flat distance right here that's a nice 6-8 feet from that rail in case anybody fell in the water, they wouldn't fall into the deep water. But it also acts as a flat surface so that we can come over here to our ramp where they're obviously able to bring in items from backstage, go down that ramp, go across this flat area, and then get up out onto the catwalks to get their items wherever they need to go. Won't be needing that boat for a while, but it is always fun when you see the crew out there floating around before the show, kind of getting everything all set up for World of Color. But definitely interesting to see that bad boy just parked there. What we're going to look at today is these concrete bases. I'm pretty sure they've already blasted out the ones on the backside of World of Color, and I think that these two that are up in the front will be the next ones to get blasted out, because it seems as if they're doing some foundational work for what we're all guessing are for some of the projections that exist inside of the World of Color Lagoon. I don't think that the ones in the back are for the mist screens. Definitely know the ones in the front aren't, but I don't know if these are for that. But here you can see that this part of the project has gone vertical, where we can count 1, 2 of these. And as we go over to our third and fourth and fifth one, you will see the differential in height, because these obviously need to line up in a straight row for how we see the show as the guests. However, they're each landing at different depths of this lagoon. As I've noted before, it always seems to go flat for maybe 4 or 6 feet from where every guest would, in most spots, be able to touch the railing and fall in. But you can see that some of these have much different heights because they're in deeper parts of the lagoon, but they all need to be level at the end of the day so that we can see aesthetically this equipment when it breaks the shoreline all at the same height. So it's very interesting. A week ago, this is when we realized that, hey, something's getting ready to get poured and they're going to go vertical. And just a week later, these little columns are really starting to take shape and come together. So it does look like they're doing a pretty extensive overhaul of the lagoon. And there we can see just a week later how they're, casting that concrete in those cylinder forms. Looks like soon they'll be putting something up on the top there, which I believe old school, those little blue housing for projectors would sit on top. Here from the bottom of the Silly Symphony swings, we can kind of get an idea of the different heights going across. And then this one being built on this edge where the lagoon slopes down, they got to get crafty there to work inside of that edge. But you can see that circle top there. Notice the circle on a couple of the other ones. I'm just assuming that's where they'll start to put the base at the top of these, where whatever projector will live. And then of course all of the tech has to get harnessed down through that and then run underwater through all these different arteries off stage where everything's powered and pumped in. So definitely fascinating to see this coming together week by week. And once it's all operating and we're watching World of Color, we will have a better understanding of this show from reverse engineering, watching them refabricate it, refurbish it, and get it all put back together. So, man, so much technology out there to make this amazing show come to life every night. Not going to lie, though, really going to miss it during the holiday season. And it seems like this project getting even bigger. Over here, we've kind of noticed this catwalk. where they're doing some refurbishment to the rocks that exist on the beach line there at the bottom of the Zephyr. So they are definitely going through this thing, trying to get it all fine-tuned. So probably they don't have to drain it and do this for quite some time, because that cannot be cheap. All right, another thing that we're following along with here is the shutdown of It's a Small World, which is supposed to open up on Wednesday, a day before the holiday season starts. So awesome to see Small World Holiday come back. Man, I don't have to tell you, one of the best things at the resort is when you catch that train, right? When you catch that train going through Small World, the fact that they took that front facade and put that space between where the train can run through and thread that needle, it is so fantastic to see. Even better when all of these holiday lights come on. So zooming in, you can already see they have those lights up on there, and less than a week we will be sailing around the holidays all around the world, and I cannot wait. This is always the first place where I see the new year written somewhere. They have that moon where it will say 2022, and that will be the first time I'll see it in writing. Where's Big Ed? They've only got one guy working on it. Has anybody seen Big Ed? We've got to get this open by Wednesday the 11th. I still have not made it onto the monorail. I tried again, and it was temporarily shut down. One day, I will monorail again. And then another project that we're tracking is the Castle Holiday Shop. Still closed. And trying to figure out if it's gone forever now that there's the Plaza Point Holiday Shop. I think 2 shops would work, but who knows what management has in mind. But I'll definitely be looking at this every week, because this was one of my favorite places to go when I needed that holiday hit.
So friends, I know that I have to add a retraction to last week's video when I mistakenly called Cinderella's castle Snow White's castle. Now forgive me here, I'm looking at a castle and talking about snow on top of it. So for me to go Snow White, castle, it was very easy for me to accidentally call Cinderella's castle Snow White's castle. And for that, I'm deeply sorry, but clearly, I do most of the time know what I'm talking about. I got you. Of course it's Sleeping Beauty and not Cinderella. Cinderella's in the Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World. This is Sleeping Beauty's castle. And to show you, I know my castle talk. Cinderella was around when they built this park, and people assumed that Walt would put Cinderella's castle as the heart of his park to promote the movie that existed. But Walt, being a masterful marketer, said, no, let's put Sleeping Beauty's castle inside of the park, knowing that in a few years that production would be going to theater and the park would help promote the movie. Therefore, not putting all of his eggs in the basket that he'd already paid for, but placing some of his eggs in a basket that he was taking a loan out on and trying to recoup the cost by using Disneyland to promote the upcoming film Sleeping Beauty.
So for people that go, the park's just trying to promote all the new movies and Disney Plus projects?
Dog, it's always been doing that with Sleeping Beauty's castle. I made a mistake talking about snow on the castle and called it Snow White's castle. These things happen when you're excited and you're thinking faster than your slow brain and mouth can move. I apologize, but I got you. Some of you were already typing.
It's not Cinderella's castle. It's Sleeping Beauty, Bricky.
And while we're in the middle of this castle talk, what do you think? It's time for this week's Mark Bricky Christmas Bounty Hunter Update, where I'm going to stitch together all of the new Christmas decorations that I've been able to find from last week. And spoiler, it's a lot.
It has been fun each week seeing the castle slowly get turned into the Christmas version. We saw the snow first, then the ornaments, then the icicles, and now we're going to see that same thing happen on Main Street, where you can see the wreaths are up on the poles. They go for a real classical look for Main Street. It doesn't get too wild. When you get into the other lands, you start to see decorations that match the characters and the stories that go around those buildings. But for Main Street USA, it's just a classic American Christmas vibe. They keep it pretty safe in golds, greens, and cranberries. It doesn't get too wild, and I love it. It just really makes Disneyland feel like that little city that lives at the bottom of your Christmas tree. So this portion of the video, we've looked through our new news. some of the projects that we've been tracking, as well as some construction. So from here on out, it's nothing but Christmas. So you've been warned, and that's why the video is so long, because there's so much Christmas to cover, and I am here for it. Still cannot go up the main steps of the train station. However, when I was looking around in these parts, I spotted my first Christmas tree over where you meet up for the various different tours. They snuck a little Christmas tree in the back corner, and I really like that basic Disneyland D ornament. Woo! Love a Christmas tree. City Hall, all decorated, looking nice and basic with its silver and gold. And this is the thing that chokes me up. Walt's little Christmas tree. Oh, Walt's little Christmas tree. How lovely are your branches. Moving over, we can see as we go down Main Street officially that it's real subtle, like wreaths hung in the proper spots, not going too crazy. It's already covered in lights. I do love how you can see the extension cords going over to the trees, hidden with a little bit of holly and brush around it. Maybe that's a pro move for doing our own homes. But I like that they keep it sort of, on the low key. You don't want to take away from that ginormous Christmas tree that you have down in Town Square. Really like these wreaths, just the basic Christmas colors. Nothing too flashy here, and I do love that we can see that the oil is burning even in the daytime in the lamp. But I like it. Each building has its own unique personality. Each building gets its own unique set dressing. Even though none of them are too flashy, it's fun to see how they design into the shapes of these buildings. Like, I love those curved half wreaths over the top of those windows. And it just, this one, that's perfect. That is perfect. You don't need to go much harder than that because you already have the lighting. Soon we will have the Christmas holiday music loop going over and over. And like I said, you don't want to take away from that big Christmas tree. And don't forget the garland that goes across. But hey, friends, are you noticing? The Plaza Point Holiday Shop is the only building that doesn't really have any decor on it. What kind of craziness is that? I mean, the front sign got a little bit of a set dressing, but as I looked around, I thought, well, maybe they didn't make it that far down the street the night before, because this is literally happening each and every night. So then I worked my way over to one of my favorite corners over at the first aid. I go, okay, they haven't done these two buildings, but maybe they won't because they're tucked off in the corner. But they have done the baby care center, and they did the building next to it. So why have they skipped Plaza Point? I'm going to say because they're doing something extra special. I mean, that even the little red wagon got involved. And it's hard because, he's got really high cholesterol, so he tends to not do too many things. But even the little red wagon got involved. And here's my second Christmas tree. I wonder if those bird cages are to symbolize the idea that Walt wanted a restaurant with birds in it, which they said that will be disgusting, and that's how the Tiki Room came about. I wonder if that's a nod to that. I do love this Plaza Inn sign, and with the wrought iron draped over with the Christmas garland, with the red bows, keeping it Christmas casual. I love it. Over the weeks, we've seen the Sleeping Beauty Castle transform from just the snow to the icicles. Now we're seeing the final touches of the blanket of LED lights and the garland, which if you look real closely, you can see there's actually like pieces of royalty in there, like crowns and whatnot. I do think it's one too many colors. I'm not a big fan of this colorway. I would go design by reduction and keep it real basic because it's kind of a lot going on right now, Beauty. Kind of a lot. Maybe one too many ideas, but man, oh man, when it lights up at the end of the day, it is fantastic. So fun each week going along and watching this come together. Now let's go over to a real sleeper hit in the holidays at Disney, which is Winnie the Pooh over here in Critter Country. They play this country Christmas loop that just breaks my heart, being a kid originally from Kentucky. I mean, it's so good. And then as we look over here on this decoration, this is the level of storytelling that makes me a super fan. Ornaments dipped in honey. I don't know who stole the honey. I haven't got to the bottom of that because Pooh's not talking. But whoever did this, you're a genius. Dipping the ornament in honey, that's what I'm here for, folks. That's what I'm here for and why I come every week. This fake tree, I sometimes have to remind myself that it is fake around all of these different trees. Here we see garland and decorations that is way more out there, right? Like this isn't what we put on our homes, but it makes sense for the critters of Critter Country that form this community. Love the Critter Country Creek, one of my favorite details in here. At the end of today's video, I got a little ambiance from this part of the park. But as we keep looking around at these decorations, I love the idea of pine cones and fruit and various different berries. Like that's what these citizens of Critter Country would put up. They would take their harvest and decorate for the holidays. Love that level of storytelling. And then over here on maybe one day the entryway to Disneyland Forward, we see more fruit and little honeycombs and bees, like really telling the story. That wall right there one day might swing wide open in the new Disneyland. And I love that little shack. Who lives there? What's their story? I need to know it. That's why I love this place. But yes, that garland, fantastic. And then over here, really liking that pink like gingham bow, as well as these little honeycombs, more ornaments dipped in honey. And then, you know, of course, where there's honey, there's going to be bees flocking around. Critter Country, real easy to kind of miss and not go into if you're not going for Splash or Winnie the Pooh, but has such great vibes. Oh, love it so much. Then speaking of Splash, this might be the last couple of months. This might go down early next year for its Princess and the Frog retheming. So if you like to make a splash around the holidays, you might want to get on it now, kids, because I have a feeling this might be going down early in 2022 and might be gone for, I don't know, 18 months or so. That'd be my guess on re-outfitting the whole thing, maybe a year. Over across the Esperande, we see Disney California Adventure getting ready for the Festival of the Holidays, which is kind of a way to get people over to DCA because the hardcore vibe crushers want to be at Disneyland. So they thought, how do we get them to go across the Esperande? Well, we'll do it with treats and eats. So the little booths have started to pop up, as well as the entertainment stage. Here they try to celebrate all kinds of different versions of the holidays, which I'm all here for. And you can see that this stage is plenty big for them to turn this little area into a nice concert. And then over here on the edge, I'm just going to show you one of the booths this week. There's so much going on. I don't think that I need to film all these shut down booths. But once it opens and it gets going, we'll obviously cover each and every booth and let you know what food offerings that you can find at all of them. Definitely a fun thing to come back, although it does really crowd the extra wide walkways of DCA. I love this wreath. The bright colors, the different vibe, the little sombrero. Like, I just love the vibe over here. Like, look at that little doll up in the corner and the juxtaposition of Jumpin' Jelly in the background and those ribbons. I don't care how you celebrate the holidays, just take me to it. I love every version of the holidays. These decorations, they're just so different than anything that I grew up with. They just look like a good time. They feel like a party. And I love that those cones are coming out of this little Christmas ball, and the ribbons, man. It's the ribbons that sell it. And then also the person that was bright enough to be like, well, if we have it hanging from a rope, it'll look bad. So let's just do a little bit of holly to hide how it's fixed to the front of the entryway here. And the parade that they do through here, man, I love that thing so much. Coming over to Buena Vista Street, Oswald's has a little bit of flair on it, and this kind of all took me back to this time last year when we were excited just to get into free DCA and have just a sample size of Disneyland Christmas. And man, I went every week and I cherished it. Sometimes it was really, really sad, but most of the times it made me really, really happy. So I have a new fond love and long-term memory that will always make me adore Buena Vista Street during the holidays, because I can remember when it was the only holidays at the Disneyland Resort. And we can see the Hollymont Property Associates doing their part as citizens of Buena Vista Street to fully decorate. And I do love that over here, different vibe than Main Street USA, right? Like it feels a little bit more closer to the 50s when Christmas really got branded here in the US. It just has a little bit more of that retro vibe versus that classic vibe. And once again, this bed of flowers didn't need to be put here because I already know, thanks to my friends Katie and Spencer over at Best Life and Beyond, that there's a Christmas tree there. I missed it by a day. But oh, I've missed it by 2 years because they didn't put one up last year. And I'm so excited to see the big trees back at the park. As we exit, we can see that they have put some of the animated windows up over on Buena Vista Street. This is a game I play called Santa Claus Post Malone. I'm trying to get that face tat of the candy shop. There we go. There we go. I just reached Santa Claus Post Malone status. Play at home with your own smartphone. Then we can see all these little guys working to make some toys. Definitely love these vignettes, giving a nod to old school animation from Disney. Just, I love Buena Vista Street, man. It just hits that perfect time in Christmas. The storyline, it's just absolutely perfect. Can't wait to have a face full of tears. Wait a minute. Where's my name? Am I missing it? Stacy, Lynn, Chris, Stacy, Ricardo, Eric, Alex, AS, Danny, Katie, she's been horrible. Lorena, Sarah, Trevor. Where's my name? Where's my name? I've been a citizen of Disneyland all year. Put me on the list, little guy. It's Ricky with a B. Hey, if you were wondering, are the decorations lighting up? Not yet. Gotta wait till Thursday, and I can't wait till Thursday because I'll be there to cover Merriest Nights with each and every one of you.
Friends, I hope you enjoyed this lap around all of Disneyland. Really, really busy today. It made it hard to go on the Mark Twain or the Disneyland Railroad or the monorail. Some of those attractions that I need to be able to go into our construction projects that we're tracking. But no worry. It doesn't seem like they're going too fast, and I want to thank the viewer that told me about construction shortages, how supplies are hard to get, and how nearly every construction project is going much, much slower in 2021 than they were moving in 2019. Only makes sense because everything else is filling that shortage of supplies. But we'll get back to them because they're going slow, and we're doing this each and every week. And as a heads up, because of Merriest Nights next week, and I am the 2021 Designer Con MC. That's right, over at Designer Con or Decon or at the Anaheim Convention Center. I will be hosting all of the interviews and panels that are done on the main stage this year. Next week is going to be a busy week, so you'll be looking for your update on Wednesday instead of Friday. But don't you worry, we'll still go around the resort and find everything new, and hopefully that new thing is a big giant Christmas tree in Town Square. Oh, I can't wait. We're like this close to the holidays fully being at Disneyland, and we'll be here at Merriest Nights next week to take you on the first one as a live stream and a vlog afterwards. So friends, thank you so much for taking this lap around the complete Disneyland Resort with me, finding all of the new stuff. This is how I like to end the videos, with a little bit of Disneyland ambiance and serenity, just to remember that it is a place that we love and the good vibes are here. Let's head over to the Rivers of America and Critter Country. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to everybody at Club 1313 for making today's video possible.